Seamusisdeadmick, August 30th, 2013. Don't denude my basil plant, my mother said to me, a sage bit of advice, like a poem by Seamus Heaney. Is this the modern Irish way? Berry picking replaced by herbs in pots. What wisdom do I have for my son and the health of his garden? Make sure to keep your spirulina in the fridge, lad, and only buy chlorella from Taiwan. I picked spuds with Granny once. The pads of my fingers shrink in horror whenever I reach for the gooseberry jam. Remembering that summer, they were shredded by thorns in Clifton in my aunt's back garden. My son doesn't know Ireland yet, and did I ever really? But his granny makes brown bread and scones, carrots and parsnips, butter with a side of new potatoes. He has private Dharma talks with Laura Sims, sits on my lap listening to Paul Durkin, both wearing yellow, laughing as he describes shitting his pants in Moscow. There is a job opening today in Ireland, boy. Seamus Heaney has just died. Comes with health insurance. Time served in Cambridge. Yesterday we returned 30 library books. Visited Geppetto's Hell's Kitchen studio. Today, 2 museums, a modern and an ancient. Come on, I went to Legoland. I appreciate the condolence posts. Though he was my father's poet, not mine, I sit on the verge of tears, gearing up for a massive, weepy meltdown. In public, preferably, so when asked, I can say, Seamus is dead, comforted by my connection, however tenuous, to his genius. Mick is dead, Nana once said to Grandad, as he clutched his breast and stumbled to sit down on the backless kitchen chair, before narrowing his eyes, knowing her from old, asking that crucial question. Which Mick? Mick from Ashkelon, she says, her attempt at shock short and now aborted. Sure, don't you remember you met him once? Am I crying for my country? Yes, but which one? My father, my son, or myself? Never more grateful for the priests of my youth, Yeats and Heaney and Durkin and Nigonal. My favorite one I cannot read, The Red-Headed Mermaid, my mother. People Mag lists your obit only minutes after the Times and before CNN. Hope for the future, or atonement for twerking at the VMAs. Possibly the writer has a father who once picked blackberries with her, aloud from his leather armchair, in his study, snow falling at the window, home for Christmas break. Who would I be if not scuttered by the death of this man whose picture I've only seen with white hair? Not me, anyhow. My father played Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony for his father on his one lonely trip to America to visit us, wanting to create a loving sense memory of the man who had introduced him to poetry and novels and spaghetti westerns, knowing the old man who once asked a 5-year-old girl, me, to darn his socks wouldn't like it. A 2-week visit to a town without a local pub in walking distance. A fate worse than death. But that too was coming. Grandad was a reading man, a Pope hater, a drinker, his legacy to all of us. Literature, our sacred text. Writing is our God. We bend and wend and worship words, each one of us a book. Don't denude your basil plant. It thinks it is being attacked, my aunt said to my mother, eating breakfast on the porch one afternoon, overlooking the same gunmetal gray sea they were reared on. Little islands off the coast of bigger islands. We are an island people, folks. Manhattan, Ireland, Button, Costa Rica, or whatever. Give me water or give me death. Chardonnay hands, us, forever.